Well, hello to everyone on our webinar here today, and welcome to Manage Engine Active Directory Solutions team webinar on self-service password reset. We want to just extend a warm welcome to all of you that could take a little bit of time out of your day and spend some time with us here at Manage Engine. We feel that we have a pretty compelling topic today, since this is something that I think much of the Active Directory community has been wondering why this hasn't been a solution, and we think it's a pretty elegant solution and something that is extremely powerful and will help nearly every aspect of your IT organization become more efficient, and that is allowing your users to reset their own passwords. A little bit of housekeeping before we get started. This recording or this presentation is being recorded, and you should receive an email in the next couple of days with a link to it. So if you want to share it with some of your other colleagues, that would be wonderful. If you do have any questions, please use your panel, and there's a question icon, and there are some wonderful people on the back end which will be answering the questions as I talk. So please, if you have any questions, send those over as we continue on, and you should get inline answers. A little bit of information about me. My name is Derek Melber, and I am the technical evangelist for the Active Directory Solutions team here at Manage Engine. And really what that means is I have the opportunity of traveling around the world, talking with administrators, talking with organizations, really just trying to help administrators become more knowledgeable, efficient, and more secure as they deal with their Active Directory environment. I do want to point you to a couple of different resources. One is our blog. If you go to our main landing page, manageengine.com, and go to support, there should be a link to blogs there. We blog every single week. Really the goal of the blog is to try to get you solutions similar to what we're doing today, but in a much smaller format. So it could be something that's big, or it could be something that's extremely small. I try to take questions that I get from administrators around the world and put those into blogs. So that's a great way for us to communicate with you, and it's absolutely free for you to come and enjoy. Another thing that I want to send you to is our security hardening site. Our security hardening site is a dedicated site that we have for helping you secure your Active Directory environment. Again, you can get to it from our main landing page and just click on products, and in the lower left-hand corner you'll see a link to that. A third resource I want to point you to is my email address. Myself, as well as all of us on the Active Directory Solutions team, really feel that we are here and dedicated to you to try to get you answers to questions. It doesn't have to be about product. Actually, we kind of prefer it not be about product. We like to try to help organizations solve issues around Active Directory. So please, if you have any questions around Active Directory, group policy, security, endpoints, really anything, send us those questions. We'd be more than happy to take those on. Another thing that we do at Manage Engine and the Active Directory team is we have a world tour. This is our third year of the world tour, and we go around to, we went to 25 countries last year. This year we've gone to about 12. You can see some of the places that I've been this year. Right now I'm in San Francisco, and I will be heading out to New York today to do a seminar in New York tomorrow. And then as the year goes on, Australia, Sweden, Italy, and even more. So please, if you are in any of these areas, we would be very happy to see you in one of our seminars. It's a great way for you to engage with us, ask direct questions to us, meet other people that are possibly having similar issues that you're having, and it's just a great forum, great information as well. So let's jump into our topic today, which is end user self-service password reset. Now, normally if you've heard me talk, I like to actually approach topics in a way where I show you the Microsoft solution as far as I can go, and then when it kind of falls short of an actual solution, I jump in and I show you a product solution. But unfortunately, I can't show you a self-service password reset from Microsoft. The only way that's possible is if you have Azure and Office 365, and many organizations don't have that yet. And also you're going to see there's a severe limitation with that implementation if you try to install it, because it only communicates with Azure and Active Directory. It doesn't communicate with anything else. So instead of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a process. I'm going to walk you through the process of what it would be like for you to get ADSelfService Plus inside of your organization and get users up and running so they can reset their own passwords. I'm going to show you both the administrator side and the end user side. So let's first of all talk about the concept of ADSelfService Plus in itself. And the core of ADSelfService Plus is something called a policy. Now, I know the word policy is way overused, but let me explain to you how we use the word policy. Here's ADSelfService Plus, and in configuration, you will see that there are these policies. So you'll see that I have 3 policies. And the policies do a couple of different things. First, the policy defines what the end user is going to be able to do through the portal. So not only are they going to be able to reset their password, as you see here, you, the administrator, get to control if they can also unlock their account. Now, of course, I think we understand the difference between reset and unlock. Reset is, oh, I don't remember my password. Unlock is, I put in my wrong password or put in a wrong password X number of times and my account's locked out. So both of these are important, and what's most important is the fact that the user will not need to know their old password for either one of these solutions. Now, another password control that we have is the changing of the password, and this becomes very important as we move along in this webinar and we start talking about other password controls. So we'll get to that in just a minute. And then finally, we have something called SelfUpdate. If you think about a new world instead of the current world you live in, when you get information about changing a user's properties, let's say, about their address or their phone number, why in the world should you have to go update that information? You're being told what to do. Why not just give the user the ability to update their information? Because if you have 10,000 users, you certainly don't want to be responsible for making sure that the address inside of a user's property is correct. Let the user deal with that. That's exactly what SelfUpdate does. Now, these policies actually control what the end user can see and what they can do. But each policy can be a little different. So what I can do is I can organize through OUs and groups which parts of the ADSelfService Plus policy the user is going to be able to see. So we have here controls so that you can have multiple policies in ADSelfService Plus. Those of you that potentially have ADSelfService Plus, please start using policies because you're going to need them based on other things that I'm going to show you. Now, we also have multi-factor authentication around this idea of password reset and account unlock. And those actually become more and more, it seems, every week that goes by. Now we have Q&A. We have verification code with email or SMS. We have Google Authenticator, Duo, RSA Secure ID tokens, and now we have Radius authentication. So these are different ways that the user, based on what you select for them, are going to be required to do to actually reset their password and unlock their account. So this is a great way for you to allow your users to have a secure methodology to reset their password and unlock their account. Now, I'm going to give you an idea. I just learned this yesterday as an idea. There was, I'm here in San Francisco, and there were 2 administrators from a school district, and they were primarily concerned about their K through 6 students. And what I said was, well, possibly K through 6, K through 4, you're going to give them a Q&A, which is very simple. Maybe the 5th and 6th graders who are a little bit more sophisticated and they probably have phones, well, maybe they're going to do some kind of a mobile phone number, get a text message. And maybe your teachers, because they're more sophisticated and they have access to even more information, maybe they're going to use Google Authenticator or Duo, or maybe even RSA tokens if they had them. So because of the ability to have different policies, you now have the ability to have different multi-factor authentications based on that policy, excuse me, and based on the user that's using it. So those are some great ways that you can utilize the tool based on your environment. So again, really what the policy defines is what the end user can do through the portal, who receives which options, as well as the security around that. So extremely powerful, and what you can do to make sure things are secure. Okay, so that's the administrative part in setting those up. Now you have to get your users enrolled in the system. They have to be enrolled in the system so that the system understands that the user now is part of the system. Now, what we have learned over the years is that each organization works a little bit different with their users. Some users are more sophisticated and understand technology. Other users are not so sophisticated and don't understand technology. And even if you explain it to them, they don't know how to do it. So what we have done is giving you a variety of different solutions to get your users enrolled. Some of the solutions are a little more hands-off for your more technical employees. So you just send an email and they log on to ADSelfService Plus and enroll themselves. Pretty easy. But for those users that need a little bit more hand-holding, or maybe just not wanting to get enrolled into the system, you can actually do a forced enrollment. Now, this whole idea of getting users enrolled really becomes a very powerful way for you to get your users into the system. So you'll see here, this is the different enrollments. I have a forced enrollment actually set up. Let me show you what that looks like. What I have found is many organizations, because users become a little hesitant to enroll, end up doing the forced enrollment. Now, I have a desktop over here, and if Judy logs on to her computer, but she hasn't got into the system for the last month of me sending her emails, I can actually do a forced enrollment. The forced enrollment will actually send her through the system so that she has to enroll into ADSelfService Plus. Now, I don't think that users usually are hesitant to enroll. They just get rid of the email, or they forget the email, or they forget they need to get into the system. If we can actually educate them on the power that we're giving them, I think most users will want to enroll in the system. Now, another thing that we do in almost every single tool that we provide is we give some awesome reports. So the idea is that you have users that are enrolled and users that aren't enrolled. So now you can see the users that are enrolled. You possibly could send out other emails. You could communicate with them to make sure that they are being told about the system and they need to get enrolled in the system. In the end, you can actually go and you can import data into the system and enroll the users yourself, but I really think that the user needs to be a part of the system during the enrollment process. So, 2 steps so far. Step 1, you have configured based on OU or group, which options certain users are going to get, and you've associated the security around those options. The users now have enrolled in the system, and really, they're done. They can now start to utilize the system itself. So one of the things that I've been encouraging, and many others at ManageEngine have been encouraging, is the GINA update. Now, the GINA update's important, in my opinion, because the users are users, and they're not fully sophisticated like we are as admins to be able to get around in a system. So what I encourage that you do is that you actually push out the GINA update. Now, the GINA update's going to look like this. Let's get out of the system as Judy, and let's get back in as Tom. So now I'm going to switch, and I'm going to log on as Tom B. And here you can see that Tom, Tom can't remember his password. Ah, dang, I don't remember my password. So instead of Tom having to call the help desk, call a technician to reset his password, I have pushed out the GINA update. So now, because Tom is enrolled, Tom goes to this HTML portal and can reset his own password. Tom only needs to know his own name, which of course Tom knows his logon name. If the user doesn't know their logon name, that's a whole nother issue. Can't really help with that one. I apologize. So Tom gets into the system, communicates with the back end, and Tom did Q&A. So Tom puts in information, CAPTCHA is completely optional for you. Of course, this is security for you to make sure the users are who they say they are. And now, because of the information, Tom can put in a new password. The same for unlocking the account. Now, this is a pretty powerful interface. This is a pretty powerful tool. Also, I want to point out that I am showing here what Tom's password requirements are. Now, this is a phenomenal new feature, and I'm going to actually show you the breadth of this feature in just a minute, but this allows the user to know exactly what they're responsible for putting in. If you're just using the Microsoft old way and not even allowing password reset, just the user has to put in a new password, the user has no idea what the password requirements are. So really what we're doing here is two things. One, we're giving the power to the user so they can reset their own password and not have to talk to someone in IT. And two, we're enabling the user to be more self-sufficient and not call us because they now know the rules of engagement for their passwords. So this whole idea of pushing out the GINA becomes very important. Also, we have the GINA for Windows machines, and we have communication with Macintosh machines. Okay? So this is a great way for the user to actually have the ability to do this. Now, what if I don't have the GINA update? Well, if I don't have the GINA update and the user can't get into their system, they still have opportunities to do this. They can actually download and install the application on their phone so they can reset their password. They can also go to another user's computer, and on that other user's computer, they could go through the portal to the ADSelfService portal, and they could reset their password that way. Because they have to use security, other users can't change other users' passwords. I get that question quite a bit, and of course that would be completely unacceptable for one user to reset someone else's password. So that's why we have that security set up on the back end. So now that the user is into the system, you are allowing the user to really work self-sufficiently. Now, really what I tell most of the admins that I communicate with on this is the end user education is not going to be that steep. The reason it's not going to be that steep is because today your users know how to reset their password because of their online social media. No one in the world has called, let's say, Facebook to reset their password. Facebook has an online portal for them to do that. The same with all the other social media, your online shopping, your banking, all those things. You don't call someone to reset your password. You use the online portal to do that. Usually there's security set up. So again, your users understand that they're going to be getting a text message. They're going to be getting an email with information. They're going to have to put into that portal to reset their password. So the training on this is actually very, very light, which is pretty awesome. So what we find is most organizations want ADSelfService Plus for the password reset and unlock. But remember, you can still do the self-update. Now, the self-update is not for everyone, but I want you to at least think about it. This is a way for you, the administrator, to define which properties your user can update. Now, let me show you the administrative side on this. So we're going to come over here, and we are going to go to our directory self-service. Now, the self-service has a layout, and the layout is customizable by you. So this is where you determine, right? I can delete these, I can add these, I can choose whatever the user is going to be able to update. So you can give one property or you can give a ton of properties. You can even go in and make sure that the properties have certain requirements. And those requirements are going to ensure that they follow certain validation, formats, and whatnot. Because what you don't want is to give the user the ability to update their own properties, but then some LDAP query come in and it doesn't find that user because the information they put in themselves doesn't follow the right formatting. So this is a very powerful way for you to allow the user to actually update themselves in the system. Now, if I get into the system, of course, Tom should be in the system to do this, and then Tom goes to the portal. Now here's the portal. Tom is logged in, but Tom needs to update information. So Tom puts in his credentials. Then, based on what you, the administrator, gave Tom through the self-service environment, that's what Tom is going to be able to update. So now it's basically downloading that information. And now you see my info, and this is what you gave Tom. So again, I can allow one property or I can allow different properties. This is also where Tom can change his password. So, and again, the changing of the password here helps Tom understand what the rules of engagement are for his password. So really the self-update is something that you can leverage. You don't have to do it all, but why not allow the user to update their address? Why not allow the user to update their phone number or city or any other things that are really personal to them based on what they do for the company? So the self-update is really something that we've seen more and more organizations picking up on. Now, yesterday, the same administrators of the school were asking me that, and they said they have Google apps, and obviously the users in Google apps are different than the users in Active Directory, but they wanted to make sure that they synced the passwords. Well, that's exactly what our password synchronizer does. Our password synchronizer allows you, the administrator, to go into the administrative portal, and you get to choose which cloud applications, and we keep adding more and more of these, you're going to communicate with. So whether it be Office 365, whether it be Google, whether it be Zoho, whatever it is, you get to go in and you get to configure the settings so that when the user changes their password in Active Directory, it automatically synchronizes that password with whatever cloud application you want it to synchronize with. Another great feature. So what I want you to consider is the fact of ADSelfService Plus, the name, is really more than that. And we keep adding more and more features. This is really becoming one of my favorite tools in the AD suite because it's adding so many amazing features and capabilities. So the sync is certainly one of those as my favorite. But I want to say that this is probably my second favorite feature, notification. Why? Because I travel the world. I went to over 80 cities last year, 25 countries. Often, if my password is going to expire, I'm not on the network. I'm not going to see the Microsoft expiration. So my password expires. Now I'm 12 hours different than the technician. I can't even call anyone to reset my password. So we provide you the option to actually push notifications through SMS, emails, to the end user. This is 100% customizable. Another thing that you will see in ADSelfService Plus is that our tool allows you to customize the communication with the user. Now you see that you can, this is a pretty sophisticated notification, but you're sending notifications after so many days, you're telling them how you're going to communicate with them, you can customize the content, really becomes powerful. Oh, and by the way, don't forget the most important thing, this is absolutely free. There's a free edition of this, and now you can get notifications to your users. You don't get any of the other features, but at least you can communicate with them, okay? ADSelfService Plus has this free aspect, which, again, one of my favorite aspects of ADSelfService Plus, and we're basically giving that away to you. Now, is this going to be only the first 10 users? No. It's for all the users in your environment. We on the AD team really, and I know it sounds silly, but we really care about you, the administrator. And we care about your users. So we want to make sure that you can communicate with your users to reduce at least the calls for when someone's password expires. And so now you can communicate that with them. Now, I do want to add in one more tidbit, my newest favorite aspect of ADSelfService Plus. Now, I'm going to take one step back, and then we'll take a step forward and talk about this feature. Right now, inside of group policy, most likely, you have a password policy that is defining your users' passwords. Okay, it looks something like this. Now, you can change this, you can move it away from the default domain policy, all those things. But in reality, these settings aren't enough. We're being attacked. If you have tools like Kane, right? Let me get down to my desktop here. Tools like Kane are so powerful in breaking into passwords. And because we have not had password enhancements since Windows 2000, 17 years ago, the attackers know how to break in. So with limitations like not being able to import a dictionary, with limitations like not being able to use patterns, with limitations of this complexity requiring 3 of the 4 character types, most users don't use special characters. Well, guess what? We should force special characters. So what we have done is we have taken whatever you have in place, whether it be the password policy through group policy, or if you are using fine-grained password policies, let me show you what those would look like in a report. So if I go to my users, you see something called PSO applied. This is password setting object. These are fine-grained password policies. So whether I'm using group policy or fine-grained password policies, ADSelfService Plus has a brand new, this is really hot off the press, feature called password policy enforcement. We can allow you to import a dictionary, use patterns, force special characters. Now your users have a much more secure password when they input it. Oh, and by the way, just like I was saying before, if they're changing their password, we're communicating with that user here. If they don't want to use this portal to reset their password and they want to use this portal to change their password, we're communicating here. We're communicating what the new rules of engagement are for your users through any interface they go to input a password, a new password. So this is by far one of my favorite new features. It increases the security of your passwords astronomically. There are so many different ways to attack passwords and their hashes. We need to help ourselves and our users put in more secure passwords. Also, this password policy enforcement doesn't overwrite what you have, it works with it. So you're not eliminating what Microsoft did in Active Directory and group policy and fine-grained password policies, we're just enhancing it. And I can have different enforcements based on ADSelfService Plus policies. So now I have some awesome, awesome, awesome solutions. So that's by far my favorite aspect of ADSelfService Plus. But we went through quite a bit today. And I know that from a technical standpoint, many of you will want ADSelfService Plus for password reset, self-service password reset and unlock. And that makes sense. But please don't forget about some of these other enhancements, these other features that really allow you to give the power to the end user. Giving the power to the end user is one of the most important aspects that you can do for your users to reduce the calls to your help desk. Now, of course, please email me with any questions. Go to our website, download the product. You can download, install, and configure and start using ADSelfService Plus in about 15 minutes. It's such an easy product to use, but it's so powerful. And it allows you to control passwords, control user information from the tool outward in an automated fashion, so now you truly are empowering your end users. I've seen a couple of questions come through, and I want to thank my team on the back end for answering those. I really don't see any questions outstanding. This comes to the conclusion of our webinar, so I want to thank you all for your attention. I want to thank you all for taking a little bit of your time to spend time with us. And for myself, Derek Melber, and the rest of the AD Solutions team at Manage Engine, we want to thank you for your time. Hopefully see you at a next webinar, seminar, or user conference. And until then, thank you and have a great rest of your day.